Good morning. Welcome to Coach Raychelle's Educational Corner. So, we are starting a new educational corner where we will be giving out tips to current and soon to be teachers. So, this morning's three tips are building relationships with your students, establishing expectations, and establishing routines. So, everybody's excited about going back to school, right? New teachers, this is an exciting time. It's also overwhelming as well. However, in order to make sure that you have a smooth school year, these three tips are super important. First of all, you need to build relationships with your students. The first 3 weeks of school are super important with you establishing a relationship with your class. Like every student you have, you need to know something about them. So, back to school activities, all of these different getting to know you type of, you know, um, worksheets that are out there. I have a great activity called I Am, and this is like a project that will allow you to know your students' family history, what they like to read, what they like to do, their hobbies, if they're in sports. So I'm going to add that link in my what do you call it below, so you can see how the project looks, and you can add it to your back to school. Like every day, the first week of school should be some type of icebreaker where you're getting to know your students. It doesn't matter what content you're teaching, you need to get to know them and build that relationship, build that classroom community. So when students come into your class, they know it's a safe place and they know that you're there for them. This is your buy in. Once students know that you are there for them and you care about their needs and you care about who they are, then they are more likely to, well, not more likely, they are likely to participate and look forward to coming to your class. Also, another strategy is greeting your students when they enter the door. I don't care what grade I taught, before any student entered into my classroom, we had to greet each other. Good morning. How you doing? Looking forward to seeing you in class today. Go ahead and get started on your warm up. Every single student I made eye contact with. This allowed me to know if we were going to have a good day or if something happened and they were going to have a bad day. So, for example, if Raychelle was at the door and she wasn't looking at me, she had an attitude this particular day. Come here, Raychelle, what's going on? What's wrong? And she'll tell me, well, my math teacher made me upset, da 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 da, I got in trouble for this. My conversation then, okay, so this is a new class. We're going to start fresh. I want you to take a few minutes before you start on your warm up to gather your thoughts. Like Miss Baines didn't have anything to do with what happened to last class period, right? So now I need for you to give me a chance and you come into my class and you're good, right? So already we have established that rapport that this is going to be a new class period. We're starting over. Let it go for this class period and have a good language arts class. So that's step one. Tip one, building relationships. Tip two, establish your expectations. So when establishing expectations, these are basically your rules. When you enter the class, you're going to start on your warm up. If you need to ask, if you have a question, you need to raise your hand. If you need to go to the restroom, I want you to put a note on your desk or raise your hand. Any rule that you know are going to be non-negotiable, those are your expectations. Also, post those expectations. Oftentimes, you go into classrooms and there are no expectations. So, how am I going to know what you expect for me to do when I have a question? Well, I need that reminder on the board. And so I would have no more than five expectations, right? Because you don't want this to be like 10 and it's overwhelming. Make your expectations tangible where students can actually see and you can tell them what they're not doing. For example, if you want to get my attention or you have a question, raise your hand. This is something that they can see. So not just if you need, it's something specific. So make sure your expectations are specific. If you're saying, you know, don't talk, not that's not a good example. For example, let me give you a better one. Be nice. How can you see that? Be nice is something that I can't show you. However, if I say you keep your hands and feet to yourself, then if somebody's kicking somebody or somebody's hitting, I can say, look at the rules. What is it? Look at the expectations. It says keep hands and feet to yourself. Were you doing that? And they can say, the conversation is no, ma'am. Well, what did you do? Well, I hit him. Well, why did you hit him? Well, because he took my pencil. Now I can redirect that behavior to something more appropriate. Okay. Tip number 3, establish routines. Super important. I would always have teachers say, Miss Baines, your kids come in and they know exactly what to do. That's because the first 6 weeks of school, we went over those routines daily. Whatever I expected for them to do when they walked in that class, they were doing it. When you walk in, get your notebook. Actually, I like giving out a handout, a quick warm up would be on the board or what have you. So when they came in, they got something in their hand to start on. If that's not what you want to do, you want to have your bell ringer, warm up, whatever you call it, on the board, then that's what you have on the board. So you have an established routine. Come in, start on your warm up. I teach middle school, so I give them 10 minutes. Class change is 7 minutes, so you're gonna 5 minutes, so you're gonna get an additional 5 minutes to work on this warm up. Once that bell rings and I stop, when I'm done taking attendance, we're grading it. So they knew they had a specific time to have that warm up completed. And if it wasn't completed, then guess what? You're out of luck because we're exchanging papers. So one, that kept them on task. 2, they knew my expectation was to have that warm up completed by the time the tardy bell rang, right? Secondly, if you don't want them getting up, roaming around the room, when you come in, you need to sharpen your pencil first, then start on your warm up. Like if you want them to have their backpacks on their desk, you need to come in, put your backpack on your desk and practice it every day. So that first week of school, we practice what my routines were. Second week of school, I'm starting to expect you to show me those routines. By the third week of school, we're still going over it, making sure I'm reminding, giving constant reminders. By the fourth week, okay, what do I expect? What is the routine when you come to class? And they know it and they're doing it. By the 6th week of school, those routines are down and I don't have to say anything. I don't have to give any reminders. All I have to do is give simple, subtle redirections. If I'm on hall duty, hey, what are y'all supposed to be doing? You can also post your routines. Kids need to see expectations throughout their everyday lives. They don't have a guide to follow. Sometimes parents are consistent, sometimes they're inconsistent. So they need that consistency. They want consistency. So your first 3 to 6 weeks of school is building student relationships, establishing your expectations, and establishing your routines. If you have these 3 items down, I guarantee you are setting yourself up for a smooth school year. Like it never fails. So those are Coach Raychelle's 3 tips for all of you returning back to school. I look forward to continuing to give you these tips. I will be on weekly to give you these tips. And so go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You can also visit my website at kabeducationalconsulting.com. Well, put www.kabeducationalconsulting.com, and that is my website. So I am looking forward to growing this group. My goal is to make sure that you have somebody to go to in case you have a question or you have a problem and you don't understand how to handle it, or You want to make sure you're handling the situation correctly. So this is Coach Raychelle. I'm out for now. I'll see you next week. Bye.